we are, back at the museum. Now, there's something special about this Friday, and that is with this. The last Friday in October is the start of the National Poppy Campaign with Veteran Affairs. So we're going to start talking a little bit about our specific veterans from our community and the displays we have here at the museum. Now, I've gotten all my information from the history books and articles and things that we have, but if I am missing anything, please let me know. Also, so we're going to start at this side of our wall, and it's Lance Corporal William Gosling. He served with the 29th Battalion in the 2nd Canadian Division from 1915 to the end of the First World War. He was wounded at Vimy Ridge, and he spent the rest of 1917 in hospital. It was actually a chest wound, and he had also experienced mustard gas during the war. Now, the display above is for Henry Gosling, the LAC, leading aircraftsman. He joined the Air Force, part of Flight 16 class, and went to training in Alberta. Later, he moved for training at St. Thomas, Ontario. Then, going overseas from Halifax in 1942. On March 1st, he was on his way to his posting at the 406 Squadron in Scotland. He did another posting to Red Hill Airfield on August 19th, 1942 with the 402 Squadron, where he did maintenance on the aircraft, the Spitfire. Here we have leading the LAC, the leading aircraftsman, Dougal Couch. In the fall of 1942, Dougal joined the Air Force. He went to tech school in Moose Jaw, and he became an aero engineer mechanic. Training school, 75 and 76, and there. Dougal. This article is about Murray Couch, who joined the Royal Canadian Air Force December of 1949, worked as a radar operator and remastered to the aircrew in 51, and took pilot training and helicopter training, and served that way. This is an interesting article about Alan Owens from Lucky Lake. Now, he was captured by the Nazis in northern France during the Normandy invasion in June of 1944. He was interrogated and shot. Now, war crimes involved the shooting of 44 Canadian prisoners during World War II. 2 of these prisoners were from Saskatchewan, and 1 was Alan Owens from Lucky Lake. Now, this article is about Harold Rummold from Domain. Now, he joined the Air Force, and he received his wings on June 25th, 1943. Now, in July, he was sent overseas. And in May 1944, he joined the 425 Alouette Squadron. Now, he was supposed to go on leave on June 17th, but had sent a telegram to his sister explaining that he didn't know why, but it wasn't going to happen. And he died the next day, June 17th, while in active service. Next we have 6 sons from remarkable Lucky Lake family in Canadian Armed Forces. George Monroe homesteaded in 1908 near Lucky Lake. He and his wife Annie had 8 children, 2 daughters, Mary and Alan, and 6 sons, Robert, Alan, Peter, George, Arthur, and John. All 6 sons of this extraordinary family served in Canada's war effort. John in the Korean conflict and the other 5 sons in World War II. Alan was killed in action on October 27, 1944. Arthur was severely wounded in the Italian campaign in December 1944, returning to Lucky Lake after his recovery. Royal Canadian Army Gunner, Robert. Enlisted March 1943. Sergeant Alan Monroe, Regina Rifles. Enlisted 1940. He went overseas in August 41. Killed in action October 27, 44. He's buried in Belgium. Leading Seaman, First Class, Andrew Peter Monroe. Enlisted in 1941. Royal Corporal, so Royal Canadian Army Service, Corporal George Monroe. Enlisted in 1940. Went overseas in February. Private Arthur Monroe, Saskatoon Light Infantry. Enlisted October 1941, overseas March 1943, wounded in action. And Chief Warrant Officer John Duncan Monroe, Royal Canadian Navy. December 8th, career aboard. Career in Navy, 1949 to 1976, and he served during the Korean War. This is Private Frank Netzel. He served with the field ambulance in 1942 to 43. He was lost in the Mediterranean Sea on July 5, 1943, when the Red Cross ship transporting his fellow soldiers and supplies to serve in the invasion of Sicily was torpedoed by enemy fire. Frank left behind his wife Mabel and infant son Ken from Lucky Lake. The family got more bad news. On October 1944, when Frank's younger brother, Corporal Leo Netzel, 18 years old, was reported killed in action on the Western Front. Leo served with the 1st Scottish Regiment in 1941 to 1944. Private David Cunningham was with the 1st Canadian Mounted Rifles, Saskatchewan Regiment, No. 8 Platoon, B Company in 229 Battalion. On February 14, 1917 in Moose Jaw, Dave signed his enlistment papers, agreeing to serve overseas. On November 16, 1917, he got his training qualification as an LRB, a Lewis Gunner Rifle Bomber. He fought in Passchendaele and Mons, wounded twice, gassed by mustard in the trenches, recovering in hospital at Trouville, France. He received his discharge on March 3, 1919, and awarded the British War Medal and the Allied Victory Medal. Got some pictures. It's George and Alice Rummold. Alice enlisted in Edmonton. She was a driver of everything and everyone, from the garbage to the servicemen. George was from Dunblane. He was a sergeant with the Royal Canadian Air Force. He was sent to Halifax to be shipped out, but he got ill and spent 2 weeks in hospital. He was not allowed to go overseas, so he worked in the maintenance yard with the machinery and snow removal. Sergeant Bruce McIntosh. He joined the 101st Battery of the 8th Canadian Light Anti-Aircraft Artillery, and served in the war years from 1939 to 1945. And here is a picture from England, July 1944. This is Red Pennington. He served in the Army. He was in the Canadian Armed Forces from 1942 to 1946, serving in Canada, Britain, Central Mediterranean, and Northwest Europe. Corporal Donald Couch. In 1940, Donald went to Saskatoon to Tech for youth training and joined the Royal Canadian Air Force as an aero engine mechanic. He went to St. Thomas, Ontario for training school, then to the No. 12 Service Flying Training School in Brandon, Manitoba. He spent time in BC, then he crossed the ocean, arriving in Glasgow, and then sent on to India. He was part of the 435 Squadron, who worked on the Dakota DC-3s. Our last picture is Elizabeth Hagee Brown with the Royal Canadian Air Force from 1942 to 46. I couldn't really find any information on her, but again, that's where if people have some information, I'd love to get things updated. And I know there's some things I even found in the history book looking for some more details, and I stumbled on names and World War I or World War II, and it'd be great if we could get some more veterans recognized here at our museum. So if you have a family member from our Lucky Lake district, send me a message through Facebook on the Messenger, and we can connect and maybe try to get that to happen. So that's our time for here. But join us for next week with our final Friday before Remembrance Day. See you then.